The Chicago Bears add some running back and special teams depth and re-signing Travis Homer. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host here, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, quick one: the Chicago Bears have made a re-signing Travis Homer to a 1-year, $2 million deal for the veteran running back. Interesting thing here, right? When you look at Travis Homer, didn't really have a whole lot of impact for the Bears last year. He did play in 10 games last season. He had 6 total carries as a running back for 23 yards. He had 10 total. How many? He had no returns last year. In that case, he did have 1 kickoff return for 29 yards last year. No punt returns last year for Travis Homer. This is an interesting signing at this place of free agency, only because of you could have did this at any point in time. Like this is all right. Cool. You re-signed Travis Homer for a 1-year deal. What does that do for you, right? Clearly special teams. I think you also signed Haize, who also could contribute on special teams for you as well, which is all fine and dandy, all good there. But at this point, like especially with the talk going on of the Bears bringing in Rondale Moore for an interview to see what that's going to bring for the team. At this point, like bringing back Travis Homer is like, was there a market for Travis Homer? Was there anybody that was pining over Travis Homer to where you had to re-sign him now, right? Was that anything that was happening for the Chicago Bears at this point in time? I just don't see why right now was there a requirement or need to re-sign Travis Homer, just personally. Like I said, you brought in Olamide as well as Haize, who he returned 17 punts last year for 179 yards. He was more active in both being a wide receiver and in special teams last season. And you think that anything that you could use Travis Homer for, you can also use Haize for. So that's a question there, right? I think also you're looking at, like, okay, does this mean anything for Ian Wheeler? Does it mean anything for Ian Wheeler? I don't know that it does. I'm not saying that it doesn't. And I mean, there's a thought right now that, maybe Travis Homer doesn't even make it out of training camp, which is a possibility. But signing him for 1 year, $2 million, when you already only had $16 million left in salary cap space, was that a requirement right now? That's the question that I have here. Was that a requirement? I guess we'll see, right? Overall, I get the Bears are trying to just make sure. I do think that the Bears are trying to get all their money lined up, basically to know this is what we're spending. This is where we're at. Let's go ahead and get everybody in here that we know we're going to bring back, because after the draft, we're pretty much done. Right now, I think Ryan Poles is going to save a little bit of money for UDFAs as well, which is another thing. You want to save some money for UDFAs. But overall, I look at this signing of Travis Homer and when it is, and it's like, okay, cool. But all right, what does that mean for anything? And maybe that's just me looking at it when it comes down to it, right? But I do think that the Bears looking at Rondale Moore is the kind of the bigger conversation there, right? Because you did bring in Olamide Haize, but if you're looking still at Rondale Moore, to me, if you sign Rondale Moore as well, that not only is it for Tyler Scott, this probably means that the Bears aren't going to draft a wide receiver in this draft as well, because I don't see you still going into the draft for wide receiver. Rondale Moore, former second-round pick at number 49 overall, you look at what he's been, he's taller, of course, right? But Rondale Moore, his production is pretty much similar to what Olamide has, right? So it's the Bears I know that there's a method to the madness, right? And I'm not gonna doubt what they're doing here. But Rondale Moore is like, he's 5'7". You just signed a 5'8". Like how short are our other wide receivers gonna be? How small are you trying to run the smallest wide receiver room possible? Like what are we doing? Right? So I mean, it's just some thoughts there, right? Right. He's an excellent blocker and special teams player, and Rojo tends to have a lot of concussions, but it's more so probably a money save move. Exactly, and I agree with you there, sophisticated. Completely agree with you. Poles does love his UDFA's, but maybe this year the Bears won't need them as much. That's a possibility, and I don't know if it's necessarily a need for UDFA's, right? Like you look at most of the UDFA's last year, like none of them really had like a Jack Sanborn where they actually like made the roster, right? So I think there's always going to be some guys that go undrafted that can be rotational players for you at the bare minimum. And you always want to look; those are cheap options. If they can be rotational, decent, even halfway decent rotational players for you, you're getting great value on that. So you're always going to look at some UDFA's, but it is what it is. I think this was the Coach Hightower move. I mean, maybe. But even then, it's like, why now though? Like, I don't know. Like I said, overall, the Bears are going to do what the Bears are going to do. I'm not mad at it when it comes down to it. But if he's coming in to be the special teams guy, cool. It's no big deal there. It have to be something else to this signing. It may be like I said, this may signify something. It is more than likely just a normal depth signing. Nothing too crazy about it there, but we'll see what happens with there. Things that make you go, right? Things that definitely make you go, We'll see. We'll see what the future does hold. But overall, not a lot of depth to go into on this signing. Travis Homer is who Travis Homer is. He is a really good blocking running back. That is a good call out. I did not mention that in talking about the things he does well. And the Bears have been very focused on protection of Caleb Williams. So bringing in another guy that you can bring in some clear blocking situations isn't necessarily going to hurt anything. But we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. But let me know what you guys think on everything down below. Make sure you guys are following us at Shy Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that's thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but bear down. Love you, motherfuckers. Peace, y'all.